Most players lose time in M plus on polls they think they're doing right. I went deep on what title players, the top 1% of all M plus players, actually do differently in Skyreach. Not the wowhead stuff, not interrupt the big cast, the actual adjustments that make a sweaty key feel like your weekly vault run. And look, some of this genuinely surprised me. There's tech in here for specific packs that I had never seen written down anywhere. These are the Skyreach tips that title players know and pretty much nobody else is talking about. I'm Beezy, and let's get into it. The first pull in Skyreach is an easy win if you know two things. First, interrupt repel from the driving gale callers. You probably know that, but here's what you're probably not doing. Set them as your focus target and use a focus interrupt macro. It always prioritizes your focus over your current target, which means no more tabbing to the wrong mob mid pull. It takes 30 seconds to set it up and a couple dungeons to get used to it, and it eliminates one of the most common problems causing wipes in all of M+. Second thing, Dread Ravens casting Dire Screech. Use a defensive every single time. Your healer will thank you. Now, here's a tip most pugs completely miss. The two adepts and the Sun Priestess right after the first boss, you can actually drag them through the gate and onto the boss platform. The mobs don't make the boss that much harder. The only extra job is 1 DPS interrupting the Sun Priestess's blinding light cast. Do that, and your next pull gets dramatically smoother. On the first boss, Gale Surge is going to knock you back. It's annoying, but here's the fix. Position against the gate. It completely eats the knockback. If you have a true immunity, Death's Advance, Turtle, whatever, use that instead. The gate can occasionally be a little finicky, but the gate works, and most players have no idea. After the first boss, if your group has a Brewmaster, and let's be honest, you probably do,
But what the hell, boy?
there's a pull here that title teams use every single run. Tank the mobs at the gate, camera towards the solar constructs inside, and pull one in with Chi Burst. You can knock one out with the pull before the second boss platform, and then head inside and have a much easier pull before the second boss. This can definitely make the pull after the first boss a little harder defensively, but you avoid the chaining chaos in the second boss room, and you can save up to a minute on your key. Speaking of solar constructs, we have to talk about their solar flame cast. If it's on you, you're pressing a personal. Non negotiable, you cannot survive this cast without a defensive in higher keys. Okay, this one is the tip that actually got me. You know how solar elementals spawn those orbs you need to kill? Everyone knows that, right? But what almost nobody realizes is that every single time the orb pulses, it's actually healing nearby enemies. You can't just passively cleave it down, so the second it spawns, everyone needs to swap to it immediately. If it's sitting there pulsing while you're on a pull, your healer is just fighting uphill for no reason, and your pull is taking longer without you even realizing it. Quick one here, if these are actually helping your keys, subscribe. I'm going through every dungeon in the Midnight M Plus pool this season, and they all have tips at this level. And I was going to include a tip on jumping the gate to bring in the birds into the second boss platform, but I just tested this, and here's what happened. So don't try this unless you want to break your key. Now for the second boss beam mechanic, it ticks damage every second, but you can cheese this by having someone run in and out of another player's beam. That effectively resets the damage tick. This basically makes the mechanic free. Your healer goes from sustained pressure on 3 people to just 2, and your tank can take this further. After the first 2 frontals, the tank can walk over and just take a beam from squishy DPS or from your healer. After all, why do a mechanic when your tank can just eat it for free? This is the kind of small play that separates a timed key from a brick. Now, onto the third boss. When the ads it summons die, they leave a fire circle that revives nearby eggs. So everyone sidesteps the circle, right? Wrong. The circle actually doesn't do any damage. None at all. Just stand in it and keep fighting. You're burning movement and stopping casts for absolutely no reason. Second tip here, the boss's ads only targets ranged players. So right before Sunbreak goes off, range should stack into melee. The ads spawn on top of range, so if you're already in melee, it spawns directly in position. This just gets you free burst without having to wait on the slow fixate. Now for the first pull after the Wind Gauntlet. And let's be honest, this pull just sucks. Left side is the play here, but the Adept of the Dawn mob stack a debuff called Fiery Talon on your tank, and it builds quickly. Title teams handle this by kiting and rotating AoE CC, just to give the tank enough breathing room to let the debuff's short duration expire. And again, the solar orbs need to die immediately. All utility on this pull goes to protecting the tank. This is the pull that breaks the most keys in Skyreach, so make sure to lock in. But this is also the best place for a quick timing check. If you have 9 to 10 minutes left after the third boss, you're on track to time the key. But if you have more, you can potentially split this pull. It's definitely worth it to go a little bit slower to avoid risking a brick this far into the key. Now for the last boss, if you have boss warnings set up, it'll call the name of whoever's getting grabbed by the bird before it even happens. There are a lot of classes, Hunter, Evoker, Warlock, that can skip the grab entirely with a movement ability. So the moment your name pops up, move to the edge. Don't let your group waste GCDs burning down a bird you were just going to sidestep anyway. Also, if you get the beam, and this is kind of crazy, you can meld, feign death, or just invis pot and negate the mechanic entirely. And that's every Skyreach tip title players are using to time 20s and beyond. So try them out the next time you run Skyreach, and let me know in the comments which one actually helps your key and which dungeon you want to see next. Every dungeon in the Midnight M Plus pool is getting this treatment this season. Subscribe so you don't miss it. I'm BZ, and I'll see you in the next one.